Hello, everybody. I am John O'Loughlin. Welcome to McDuff Lives and welcome to our Friday morning chat. It's 11 a.m. here on the East Coast of the United States on the 23rd of June, 2023. And we're starting summer off here with a little bit of a rainy period. We've had rain every day this week, and I'm very glad to say that because we needed it for the garden. And it's good to have everybody with us this morning. All the sun, hello, how are you? I'm going to check over at Rumble and say hello if anyone is rumbling along with us this morning. Welcome to Rumble channel. The channel is called McDuff Lives. It's all one word. And a person asked in the chat the other day, is it separate words or one word? Because there's two channels there. The one with separate words is an archive, and trying to talk to Rumble about consolidating it, but it's kind of complicated. So for now, just bear with me and watch the show on McDuff Lives, all one word. And let's see what we got going here at a couple of minutes after 11 a.m. And well, there's nobody in the chat on Rumble right now, but if you want to join over there, I'll be monitoring both the YouTube and the Rumble chat this morning. So I hope there's not any bad news going on right now. We've got so much going on, and a number of our good friends and fellow researchers are headed to Windber, Pennsylvania this weekend to do some research and putting their heads together. And I wish them a very successful charrette up there. And it's great to see all the progress being made in terms of peeling back the layers at Windber. It's someplace I never heard of 6 months ago, or even 2 months ago. I never heard of it, to be honest with you. Yet now that we're seeing what's been going on there with regard to the collection of carcinogenic tissues from all around the world, and the military in particular, a uh, a resource that could be for good, but it also could be for bad, and that unfortunately is a real possibility that these resources are being used not to cure us, but to actually make us sick and die. So, serious stuff to talk about. Glad to have you with me. If you want to join the conversation, just check in here. And I think we'll do most of it on the YouTube channel today. We now have 340 some people on the signed up for McDuff Lives, the all one word channel. As soon as we get to 1,000, I'm going to jettison the YouTubes entirely. So please be prepared. Sign up for the Rumble and don't be the last one to get the word that we have switched off the YouTube, because we will switch it off. Just a matter of time. And I look forward to that, because as with yesterday's show with our Wednesday show with David Underdown, we were halfway through the show before we started talking about things that YouTube doesn't approve of. And but unfortunately, because of that, I decided I better take that show down. So I reduced it to a stub just to preserve the chat. I know a lot of folks in the chat like to go back and see it again, and I like to read the chat over with. I always read the chat after the show anyway. So it's there, but you will find that it stops after about 2 minutes. And hopefully people will pick up the idea of signing up for Rumble. It's just like YouTube. You actually have to sign up and be a Rumble person, but you don't have to put any content out. You just have a channel that has your name on it, and then you can join the chat and you can follow everybody there. I see Bobby Kennedy's got a Rumble channel now. Of course, many people heading towards Rumble to get away from the censorship. Oh my God, what a crazy thing to have censorship on people just trying to talk about issues of the day. And I'm not saying I know all the answers, for goodness sakes, but that doesn't mean I can't talk about it. All right. Well, let me say greetings to people that have checked in on the chat. We have All the Sun here and Road Warrior number 11. Don't worry too much there, Road Warrior. Uh, Les Roche, hello, Les. The evil deep S is more and more apparent. They can't hide in the shadows as well. That's true. And they don't even try to hide sometimes anymore, right? It's not like they need to put out a Simpsons predictive programming thing. They just do it anymore. All the sun, hello again. Mobster is here peeling back the onion. Thank you for all your good work, Mobster, and I enjoy your Twitter feed very much. Corky Goss is here saying eek eek. And uh-oh, there's a new Malone. Oh no, I didn't know that. One is enough for me. Says all the sun, David. Hello, David Underdown's here, and let's see, Brightmore Dinosaur. Let's put your post up here. Let's read it. DeSantis signed a bill banning CBDC in Florida. Louisiana, Alabama, Texas, North Dakota also drafting bills banning the digital dollar. Yeah, that's interesting. Constitutionally, what's the issue there? The Congress has given the exclusive right to mint and coin money. You think that would be the end of it, but no, they decided that paper currency was not going to be uh, excluded. And so, we get this paper currency through the banks, and it's the old fractional reserve and the Federal Reserve and all the rip-offs that goes on behind the scenes. When we use our paper money, well, the founding fathers didn't think we were going to use paper money. They thought we were going to use coins. They thought we'd have real value in the things we trade back and forth instead of just fiat currency. Well, anyway, can a state ban a digital currency? I guess they can. Is the Supreme Court going to come in and say, no, the federal government has preempted that under the Commerce Clause? Probably, but it's going to be an interesting fight. I banning central bank digital currency, I guess that means that if the federal government passes a digital currency in a central bank like the Fed does, that Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Texas, and North Dakota may be seceding from the Union. Well, I'll have to wait and see on that one. Ms. Hunt is here. Hello. Top of the morning to you, Ms. Hunt. Timothy Judd. Hey, Timothy. Good to see you. Hey, Timothy, when's the next time we can see you down? Marcia and I want to come down and see you guys down in Richmond sometime. So I have to check the Richmond Symphony schedule, but let us know. Send me an email if there's any particular events we could come and see that you'll be performing in. Love to see you, and very much enjoy your incredible musicianship. Hello, Pat Andler. Let's see what you say. I was watching something on Rumble on my Android phone, and when I stopped and saw you going live, so I still have Rumble waiting while now watching you. I don't get notification on my phone from Rumble. I don't know about that. I have I'm consulting with Matthew Raymer of a company called Content Safe, and you might see his logo on some of my archived material because he is the guy that's helping me behind the scenes to open up my shows. Now we're on Odyssey as well as BitChute, Rumble, YouTube at McDuff Lives too, and we also broadcast on Twitter. So I understand from Matthew, my colleague that helps with the backroom stuff. He is in touch with some of the Rumble people, and he says that they're just getting it together. So hang in there; it will get better and better. Let's see. Okay, hey Timothy. This Timothy says, Richmond Symphony season begins in September. Good. That's a good time to go down to Richmond. We're about 90 miles from Richmond here in southern Maryland. We play at Wolf Trap at the end of August. Cool. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, Timothy. Marcia and I will definitely be down to see you sometime soon. Hopefully, I'd like to come down to Richmond actually, instead of driving out to Wolf Trap. It's a little further, but we don't get to Richmond very much, and it's a nice old city. Morning shouts. And Brightmore Dinosaur checking in. Hello, Brightmore. Elon calls CIS a slur. Will temporary this might be something I'm not familiar with. You might have to explain this to me. Will temporary suspend from Twitter those using CIS? Clear pushback against the change. Oh, I know what that means. It's something about um, a woman that was that was naturally born to be a woman. Okay, well, I'm trying to stay out of the trans thing. It's not conducive to um, I'm not going to be able to solve it. It's not something I can sort out. I don't want to make any enemies, and I don't really have any big issues there. I mean, I don't have children that are in school that are, encountering this type of quote unquote education. And so it's just not something that I need to delve into, and I'm choosing to leave that one alone. I've got an awful lot on the plate here already at McDuff Lives. I told you I signed up for David Livingstone's Patreon, and he sends out a weekly notice on his Patreon. I wish I had the discipline to do what he does. I need to start doing that and give more value to my Patreon followers. But those of you that have been following me on Patreon for this long pretty much understand that I put as much time as I can into my content and creating my content, and that goes into my live channels. The Patreon is something that is just it's the most convenient way that I can uh, ask for support, and I do ask your support. If you can toss in a couple of bucks over at the Patreon once a month, that would be helpful to us here at the channel as we keep everything going. We have about we're getting about $280 a month on the Patreon right now, and that's way down from where it was 3 years ago when I started getting hit by all the YouTube strikes and everything. The visibility goes down, and then so does the income. So we're building back, and with Matthew Raymer's help at Content Safe, we are multiplying our channels rapidly. We'll be up on Brighteon, and sooner or later, I'm hoping to add Rockfin, because there's different audiences in all of these different platforms. I'm happy to see so many people watching the replays on BitChute. And my BitChute channel is called McDuff Uncensored. And as far as I know, they haven't censored me. Every night after my show, it automatically loads up to McDuff Uncensored on BitChute. So if you sign up there, you'll get a notice every time that one of the shows goes up on BitChute, and that's a lot of people have chosen to follow me there. So that's pretty cool. I don't have very many followers on Odyssey yet. I think it's because people haven't noticed the channel yet, but it's there, and we are populating it just as fast as we can. Morning, Jessica 18, and thanks for being here. I enjoy your posts on Twitter very much, Jessica. You've definitely done some research, and when we share it, it just makes our community stronger. TJ, hello. John, do you have any idea how this story, aka Reset, will end? Oh, no, I don't. I Last night's show with Alana Freeland was kind of shook me up a bit because I've always kind of felt that we're going to win. It's just a question of how do we win, and that means how do we defeat the Great Reset? And by uncovering the fraud and uncovering the really just the horrible behavior of our authorities during the past 3 years in the time of the so-called pandemic, I've been hoping that people would wake up and see that we need to throw the bums out and put honest people in our places of trust. But the political and the mass media powers are so strong that we're not breaking through. I put a lot of hope in the work that George and Mark and others are doing this weekend at uh, the Windber facility, Windber, Pennsylvania, to pull back those layers. I find myself wanting very much to jump into the Bobby Kennedy campaign, but on the same time, I have a number of reasons to be concerned and not go there. David Cranmer Underdown voiced some of them for us on Wednesday night. And just the fact that, it is the Kennedys. Now, let's talk about the Kennedy family for a moment. We know that the Kennedy family in Ireland, okay, at least the leadership of the Kennedy family were were Jacobites, meaning they supported James II at the Battle of the Boyne, and they supported the Jacobites when they would rebel in Ireland. And of course, this is a total British Isles thing. But you find that the Kennedys and the Fitzgeralds were strong Jacobite supporters. Now, when you bring them to Massachusetts, to Boston, are they going to start a whole new political outlook, or are they going to carry on the beliefs that they brought with them? And one of those beliefs is, in fact, Christianity, a belief in God, a belief in the Catholic Church. And that is a big difference from those Anglo-Saxons that are running the United States when the Irish are brought in. Because those Anglo-Saxons, although in name are Christian and would, go to church on Sunday to the Episcopal or other Protestant churches, but mainly Episcopals, they are deists. They are people that don't see the hand of God in their lives. They are people who are more inclined to follow the Masonic view of life based upon numbers and calculations and uh, trying to discern through some means the real plan, the plan of the universe, and then they would conceive of themselves as being masons that are the builders, or in another metaphor, beavers, the busy beavers building the beaver huts or the making the dams, but they are the workers. And as we are working to improve this basic life that God has furnished us with, but God's not helping us. We have to do it all on our own. And that's why we have to use things like the Kabbalah and mystical uh, formulas, not just to control common people, but to actually discern the real patterns that are built into nature. Well, all of that, that's not getting down on your knees and asking God to help you. No, it's like saying, don't worry, God, I got this. I'm gonna do it all, and I'm gonna um, form up these cliques and cabals that are going to work with me so that we can make the world into that shape that we want it. We know you want it to be put into. We are the architects. We're the the assistant architects. You, of course, are the grand architect of the universe. But just because you're the architect doesn't make you the builder. We're the builders. I think it's all crazy. It's all just crazy. So, how is the story going to end? I think Atlanta's got it right that we're already over the water's over the dam. We can't go back. We can't go back to no um, electromagnetic fields all over the place. We can't go back to a pristine atmosphere that's not subject to electromagnetic manipulation. We can't get rid of the weather control that the militaries are exerting. We can't get rid of the nanoparticles that are in the air. We can't get rid of these things that are already inside of our bodies that we didn't even ask for, but we breathe them in not knowing. And we can't get rid of the infrastructure that's built around us, like the medical system and uh, all of this technological control that it looks, it's like I think it was Aldous Huxley that said that people will learn to love the technology that uh, enslaves them. And it seems to be going on pretty fast. Uh, Atlanta doesn't have an iPhone. She doesn't have a an Android phone. She has a computer, but she doesn't have a TV. I only know one other person that doesn't have a portable phone. And he's a musician, lives in the woods, and I respect that. But it doesn't get you any gigs. If you're a musician, the the way you get gigs nowadays is you have a website and you let the world know that you're there. So can we get rid of it? Do we even want to get rid of it? You know, we're going to go forward. We're going to keep going forward in some manner of fashion. Is it going to turn us all into serfs and slaves? And are we all going to be confined to 15-minute cities or little tiny so-called apartments that are really no bigger than a jail cell? Is that where we're going? I don't think so. I don't think anybody's going to agree to that. The only way that it's going to happen is through another pandemic. They're going to have to come up with something, that scares the hell out of everybody, and then we'll agree to it. And was this last one, was this just a trial run, or was it practice? Um, they might have well thought, well, geez, it's just a coronavirus. We can't really hurt anybody with that, can you? But we can sure scare them. Right, more dinosaur. Interesting that Hunter cut a sweetheart deal as Republicans are pushing FBI to release recordings of Joe and his Biden bagman. I'm just disgusted at Hunter's story, and I wouldn't let him off on anything. This is somebody that, I mean, he's flaunting his drug use. He takes selfies and lets them go out into the internet. He's absolutely out of control, and definitely an addict, a drug. His mind is taken over by drugs, and he's committed serious, serious crimes that have cost millions and millions of dollars, if not billions, to the American people. And to give him a sweetheart deal on some tax evasion, to me, is to incriminate yourself. Whoever gave him that deal, that's not right. That's dishonest. That is playing along with the corruption, the deep corruption that they are waving in front of our faces, saying, "Ha ha, we can get away with it." If we let Hunter Biden get away with it, what about all the thousands and thousands and even millions of people rotting in jail for some drug offense? And here he is, living that gangsta life. No, I'm disgusted and horrified that the American people are putting up with this guy. He should be locked up, and he should be put on a pedestal, uh, a an example of infamy, of treason, of giving away your moral soul to something horrible. I think we do need some perp walks going on in this country before people going to wake up. The other aspect of it is got me thinking about it now. And one of my other problems with the system is that your general liberal Democrats, you know, of which we have, what, 100 million or so, have been so sensitized to Orange Man, to Donald Trump, that they will let the Bidens do anything at all, just so we don't have to have Donald Trump be the president again. It doesn't matter what Hunter Biden does. It doesn't matter if Joe Biden, says God save the Queen at the end of a speech. It doesn't matter if he trips and falls at the Naval Academy. It does not matter if one day he has blue eyes and one day he has black eyes and one day he has green eyes. It doesn't matter if it looks like the back of his neck is made out of of some kind of rubber and starting to flake off. It doesn't matter. None of it matters as long as you're not Orange Man. And that is a deep, deep psychological fact that people are just not willing to listen to any reason that they shouldn't vote for Joe. Because you have to vote for Joe because Orange Man, oh no, it's Orange Man. All freaking out. And that's what we were talking about with Atlanta too, is the planning of this goes back at least 100 years. The psychology, using what Freud found out about human psychology was not used to heal people. It was used to control people. And it is now, the biggest psychological uh, I mean, we have more psychologists now than anything. We have psychologists on every block. We have and then psychiatrists who seem to just basically specialize in writing scripts for Prozac, you know, and let the psychologist do the counseling. But why do we have all these psychologists? It specifically was done intentionally at the end of World War II to help steer us away from religion, to stop asking the priest what to do. Don't ask the rabbi. Ask your psychologist what's wrong with you. Why are you not happy? What's wrong with your marriage? No, don't ask for spiritual guidance. Ask for psychological guidance. And then the psychologist will just steer you into this kind of a stale, sterile world in which you get by, but you're not going to be happy because you've denied the spiritual side of life. For free reign, hello. They all have CV19 in common. Nuremberg 2 is the perfect platform, but forcing evidence through the HSBC DOJ is the challenge. They are all pathetic, owned conduits of HSBC warfare. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what Nuremberg 2 is, but I agree with your comments about they are owned by the HSBC, and the HSBC is owned by them. Brightmore Dinosaur. In lawsuit against J.P. Morgan for supporting Epstein, Morgan has countered with accusation that the U.S. Virgin Islands officials crafted sex offender laws and policy to suit Epstein. Well, they might well have. Is Epstein Island, is that on the U.S. Virgin Islands? I guess it is. Showed Epstein rough draft of changes to sex offender policy for his input. Yeah. Oh, you can't cry at everything, so you have to laugh sometimes. Pardon me. Hello, Melissa. TJ, to me, God taught us how he fought evil. Now it's up to us. Yeah, okay, I like that. Free reign. The damaged souls have always fashioned religions and governments that are platforms to indulge their narcissist need to torture and ruin children, families, and economies. Christianity is human rights. Yeah, I like to say that. I think that the idea of the golden rule is about all that I need to know. I remember being a child out playing in somebody else's yard, and the mother came out and engaged me in conversation. She wanted to know if I was a Christian, and I said, I don't know. She said, well, do you believe in the golden rule? And I said, yes. She said, well, then you're a Christian. Okay. I kind of like that, because then you don't have to get into all the intricate details of, you know, filioque and homoouensis, all the crazy Greek details of whether God was always existed in three parts, or whether the Son came along later, or whether the Son was partly human or all God, or all of that esoteric nonsense. No, I just think it's a philosophy and that Jesus taught, and if I follow it, then I'm going to be all right. But I'm not saying he wasn't also God at the same time, and I'm not I'm not certainly not the the theological type that's going to dance on the head of a pin and try to figure all that out. But you're right. They fashion the rules to suit their own needs, and that's where this Babylonian revival comes from, the Egyptian revival, the idea of everything is being a big cycle. The tree of life is an ancient symbol of how everything just, it grows and then it dies and then it falls into the ground and then it becomes the nourishment for the next generation. Um, the snake, the big circle ubros, the snake that eats its tail. uh, These images of life are devoid of a good of goodness. They're just saying that life is, you live for a while and then you die and then you get regenerated and you're born again or your guts are born into somebody else. But there's no survival of the soul. There's no afterlife for those of us, that are believing in an afterlife. Well, we're not going to get one. We're just going to disappear. Maybe we'll go to Valhalla, and if we're warriors and we die in battle, maybe we can go to Valhalla. A lot of people are still into that warrior thing, especially over in Europe where there uh, thousands of guys going out every day to shoot at the other guys, try to blow them up, try to burn them up with a thermo bomb. Yeah, places in the world where that morality still exists of, if you ain't with us, you're against us. It's not the American way. We just want to be free. We just want to be on our own. I don't want to be conquering the Philippines. I don't want to conquer Europe or Russia or anybody else. Just let me be me and let me have free and open relationship with my neighbors and let me develop my spiritual side while I am living this life. Don't force me into some horrible treadmill or salt mine or uranium mine as they did to the people in the Holocaust. No, let's all just let's get together and feel all right, as Bob Marley said. Of course, they didn't let him live very long. But that's the answer. We've got to just live together. Let's get together and feel all right. One love, one heart. That's it. There's not different areas of the world that have love and then the rest of the world has hate. It's all one love. Hello, Pat Andler. I am in a very nice suburb of Cleveland, and they are pushing the UN agenda without anyone but the officials knowing. Wow. Yeah. Well, isn't Kolomoisky kind of buying up Cleveland? Yeah. The oil company, that's where the Rockefeller started in Cleveland. Okay. Cleveland is like the center of the totalitarian takeover of the United States by these corporate monsters. And all of Ohio, you know, and of course, David's from Detroit, Michigan, and all of that, Indiana, Bloomington, the things that David's been able to share with us should convince everybody that there's been a lot of very powerful people in that upper Midwest that have steered our country from behind the scenes. And we're starting to find out about it, especially the powers that began World War II. when we look at all the connections to Detroit, it really is enlightening. And as we pull back these layers, again, we're making a lot of progress to showing the American people that no, this country has been taken over by the financiers, the powers behind the scenes. Steel Magnolia, I had to live in the tiny apartment to afford housing where health care accessible for working adults not disabled in Massachusetts. Yeah, you had to live in the tiny apartment to afford the housing where the health care is accessible for working adults. Yeah, we have to do what we have to do, and more power to you for doing it. We have it sucks, but we have to do what we have to do. And I thank God I lived long enough to retire from my day job because I couldn't do this work. My mind would be occupied with daily needs. But now I'm able to do this work, in trying to expose the things that my father saw, the forces that took him out, and the forces that are taking our country out as we speak. You can when you absorb the materials that we've studied about these European, the old money of Europe, the Rothschilds and the Bank of England and the Venetians and all of the deep, deep wealth and the Swiss bank, the Bank of International Settlements, all of this money all being concentrated into the hands of a very few, then we are exposing the cabal and we are exposing it to each other. And, you know, I think we're having an effect. As a matter of fact, I was happy to hear from my wife, who has one of her good friends. The last time we had talked to that good friend, she was a complete liberal going along with everything, the whole Joe Biden, everything. And it was really kind of difficult for us to talk because we just don't agree with that. But so what I found out yesterday was that this lady is now looking at it from our point of view and saying, she was saying she talked to her brother, and her brother is like drinking the Kool-Aid. Well, she's not anymore, and that's really nice. You know, each one teach one. They used to say in the Black community to try to wake people up, and I think it's a good motto. Each one teach one. But we're living through it, and as we live through it, those of us like me that are blessed with the time to do it can hopefully put some signs out to others to say, no, don't go that way. Uh, there be dragons. Don't go where the dragons are. And remember the ideals. And don't forget the ideals. Don't forget, that there is a lodestar that we are aiming at. There is the idea of the United States as a motto, an emblem of freedom and liberty, as one of the famous history books of America calls it, the Empire of Liberty. And that's the goal. That liberty would be the emperor in a way. That we do what we need to do to preserve each other's liberty. And 90% of it is the old golden rule. Corky says, rigged. A new movie of the history of America. Yeah. I wonder where it starts. Does it start by the rigging of the uh, Adams and Jefferson presidencies and the rigging of it to divide us into two parties from the beginning, despite everything that George Washington said? Don't do it. Don't be party. Don't join political parties. And everybody joins political parties. Yeah, that seemed kind of rigged to me, especially when you consider that Adams and Jefferson died on the same day, exactly 50 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1826. It's like they signed a contract, isn't it? It's like, hey Jefferson, hey Adams, you guys go along with this thing, sign here, and we'll promise you get to live 50 years. And so they got to live the 50 years. And then they died. And the fact that they died together might that, hey, they're going to fulfill the contract. You're going to get your 100 years, Henry. You got your 100 years, Henry. So, move on. Um, you know the Henry I'm talking about. Disgusting man. Trying to show another one here. There we go. And Pat Andler says, good book to read and trying to share with people is Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Core, written in 2011. If I'm not mistaken, she passed away last year. A very important activist, somebody whose work everybody should be studying, including me. Behind the Green Mask. Sounds like a winner, Pat. Thanks for the reference. Corky says, my first sense of a psyop finally dawned on me. Disco. No offense, my wife loved it. Disco, a psyop. Yeah, I guess it is. Mm. Well, it certainly was popular with President Trump and what was that Club 21 or wherever it was that they all went and had all kinds of fun, I'm sure. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I can't testify. Brightmore dinosaur. Psychology often an exercise in self-absorbed indulgence. Focus on self rather than the good of society. Yeah, well said. Road Warrior 11. Larry Fink quoted on Bloomberg, quote, AI could be the technology that helps curb inflation, unquote. This sounds to me like the dog ate my homework excuse for when the world economy implodes. Yeah, I'm sorry, to me, it's just it's practically obvious. It's like smacks you right in the forehead when you realize that AI is just an excuse for them to turn everything over to computerized money decisions. So there's no humanity involved anymore at all. Once you get involved in the financial system, you know, in whatever way, maybe you're expecting a paycheck for some work you done or some health insurance or some any way that you are involved in it, and especially when you're talking about investing in corporations, you're going to find that there's no margin for human decision making anymore. That AI is not a smart computer. It's just doing what the formulas tell it to do. But because they have got the formulas so well tuned they're able to step aside and say, okay, IBM, you run everything now. Big Blue, you run all the economies of the world, all going to be run, out of a central computing system. And there's no humanity in it at all. There's no appeal, there's no exceptions. And that's how they're going to save the money. That's how they're going to curb inflation, because they're going to cut the human decision making out of it. Where somebody might have gone to their doctor and said, can I have another 6 weeks of physical therapy? I don't think my neck is very well yet. No, the doctor won't have any say in it. It'll say, well, the computer says that's all you get. So you're done. you know? And forget about major surgery. If the computer doesn't think you need it, you're not going to get it. Melissa says tiger eyes and hermaphrodites. Yeah, it's interesting. I really do think that it's possible that people like King Charles and the royals think of themselves as having some type of a connection to that lizard brain idea, the amygdala, um, being the lizard brain, the brain that exists mainly in your spine, up before you get to your neck, before you get into the head itself. There's the autonomic nervous system and other things that are part of the brain, but they're also basically part of the spine. And that reptilian part of the brain, you're if you are kind of deferring to that and putting your empathy aside in favor of the fight or flight reflex, which is basically what that part of the brain does, is you look at something or a situation and you decide, either I'm going to eat it or it's going to eat me. And if you're going to eat it, then you attack and you take it and you kill it and you destroy it and you eat it. Kind of like cutting the heart out of the Indian enemy. Like in the Last of the Mohegans, and he eats that heart. Eating it. That's taking it entirely into yourself, conquering it. Or you also have to turn around and run like hell if you decide, well, he's going to eat me. But that's the reptilian brain. He just thinks on that level. And that's the way AI is going to think. It's going to think on, well, is this going to make me money or not? And if it's not making me money, then it's a risk and I don't want it. So, no, I'm not doing it. For free reign, Christianity is attacked because it platforms capitalist and human rights to control one's existence. I'm not quite sure I understand what you're saying there. Christianity is attacked because it platforms capitalist and human rights. Oh, I'm just not getting your meaning there. Free reign. Pat's back. He says, I do think we are winning. God is on our side. We have to remember all of the independent channels like yours that are out there. If you put them all together, I believe we're in the majority. Well, we could be. That's a happy thought. Well, if we're not today, let's make us the majority in the very, very near future. Because you're right. These people, like the independent journalists, are the only ones that are going to uncover the truth. The ones that are working for the big networks, they're never going to do it. They can't. They'd lose their job. They'd lose their 401k. They'd lose their family. Everything would disappear if they told what they know. So we're going to uncover it for them, and we'll take whatever time it takes. And, perhaps we do have a positive outcome. Folks that have a good attitude like that, Pat, uh, are the wind beneath my wings, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. And I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great weekend, and got a lot of good guests and shows lined up for next week. So don't forget to sign up for McDuff Lives, all one word, on Rumble, and we will see you then. Happy weekend, and we'll see you Monday.